So as I said, this is a personal statement workshop. So this is designed to kind of give you some tips and tricks in order for you to start writing a winning personal statement. We'll also be providing you with some more information about where you can kind of find out more or undertake some activities so that you can write your personal statement in a bit more detail. So what is a personal statement? Well, in essence, it is an essay about you. And it's around 4,000 characters, and that's approximately 500 words. That can also be interpreted as about a page of A4. And it's designed for you to showcase to universities why you want to study your chosen course and what actually makes you suitable for that university and for that course in particular as well. So it's your chance to really show off. So you have to talk about your motivations, your inspirations and ambitions, why it is that you really, really want to study this course. And also there are sections where you'll need to demonstrate your transferable skills, experiences, and also what you're looking forward to doing when you're at university as well.
So when you're writing your personal statement, things to think about is how you're going to structure your personal statement and what you need to include. It has to be it's all about the threes actually. You have to have 2/3 of it has to be academic and then 1/3 non-academic, and your conclusion is the final third of the personal statement. So think about, why do you want to study that course? What sort of experience have you had while you were at school or college, or if you've done any volunteering, if you've done any mentoring, if you've done any virtual work experience recently. All of those things will count towards for things to write in your personal statement. You can include if you're in a sports club, if you're in a society, you may be in a book club. All of those things, again, are showing your interest and your teamwork and your communication skills. Those are the things they're looking for, your transferable skills. And then think about actually why you're studying at college or school. What's your time management skills like? These are the things you need to include as well. How you're studying alongside, if you've got a part-time job as well, or you have family commitments at home. So you look after, you run a household maybe, and you have family, also members of family to look after, and how you're managing your study as well. Those are all things to think about when you're writing your personal statement. And your non-academic, think about all the work that you've participated in that's not related to the course you want to study, but actually what are the transferable skills there that you could use in there? So think about that. And then in the concluding statement, what's going to make you stand out and look different from the rest, really, is what I would say. So who's going to read it? This is another thing to think about when you're writing your personal statement. If you're applying to 5 universities with the same course, then you're going to have 5 admissions tutors or academics reading your personal statement each. So they will all be reading your personal statement, and they will be reading everybody else's that are applying for that particular subject as well. So how are you going to make yours different and make it honest? And as if you do go to interview, then they will have that personal statement in front of them. So they'll be there asking you questions that could be related to your personal statement. So when you're writing your personal statement, it has to be honest and your own work.
So to help you, we've put together some top tips and some do's and don'ts. One of the biggest tips that we can give you is to actually write your personal statement in a Word document first, and that will enable you to check spelling and grammar. When you input your personal statement into UCAS, it doesn't allow you to do that. So it's really, really important that you don't let yourself down with spelling and grammar errors, because that can spoil a statement. You might be saying something really, really interesting and really, really important, but the fact that your spelling and grammar isn't quite right can be of detriment sometimes. So let's look at some of the real kind of positives and things that you should do. You need to start early, and you must be prepared to do several drafts. It's not uncommon to do 5 or 6 drafts of a personal statement. And you must be honest. If you are looking to undertake a course that might require you to go to interview or audition, or you might need to put a portfolio together, then they will be looking at your personal statement to kind of verify some of the things that you've been saying or that you can do. So it's really, really important that you don't embellish the truth in any way. You need to make sure that all of your experience is relevant to university or the subject that you're wanting to study, and show your enthusiasm. They want to know that you're really, really interested in studying the course with them or attending their university. So you need to get your enthusiasm and your passions to shine through. And you know you best, so it's important that you can showcase your strengths and outline your ideas really, really clearly. Now, don't make your statement too short. You have 4,000 characters, and it's important that you kind of try to meet that. Try not to make it too short. There's a lot for you to say. Don't Google for interesting quotes. Both Natalie and I used to work in admissions, and I can tell you now, we used to see a lot of personal statements that started off with a quote. For instance, dance like no one's watching. You'll find that lots of other people will be doing the same thing. So actually, in order to make yourself stand out and to make you individual, don't use quotes. Unless they are really, really, really relevant, but we'd always suggest try to avoid that. Don't just list information. You can start off by listing and bullet pointing, but your personal statement needs to have paragraphs and good sentence structure as well. Now, if you are someone who's thinking about applying to multiple courses, please remember that you must only write one personal statement, and you write one personal statement for your 5 choices as well. You will find that there will be courses that will cross kind of subjects, so English and creative writing, for instance, and you want to be talking about both of those equally. So you can apply for joint honours degrees, don't let that put you off, but you do need to make sure that your personal statement does reflect both equally. And it's important to try and showcase the qualities in each of those areas and how you can kind of fit into that subject equally. So we've put a top tip here, talk about it equally, list as a start, maybe list the things from both areas that interest you and the kind of things that you're interested in studying, how your experiences fit in those, and then start building your personal statement from there. Oh, you're on mute now.
Sorry. If things to think about when you're completing your personal statement and applying through UCAS, before you apply, make sure that you know what course you want to apply for and what university you're happy to have as your 5 choices. So you should be doing that. If you're wanting September 21, you should have been doing that. You should be doing that right now. But if you're wanting September 22, again, you can start your research now. It's never too early to start your research. If you're wanting 21 start, then you can apply now through UCAS. It is open. If you're applying before the January deadline, then your class is an early. You can still apply after that date, but you just need to check that the university's courses are not full by then, depending on what university and what course you're applying for. So check with each university and keep checking on UCAS that the course you're applying for is still open. And then the next stage is after that, your offers will start to come through. If you applied before the 15th of January, your offers should start to come through maybe now up until the end of March. And if you have all your 5 choices back by the end of March, then you should have a decision back. You will have to make a decision by May or June. But when your offers will start to come through at the same time, just after Christmas, usually you start to get interviewed for professional programs like nursing and teaching, those sorts of things, if you've got a September start. So those are the things, orders you need to plan on what you're going to do, practice your interview, how you're going to do an interview, all of those sorts of things, and then think about what decision you're going to make in May or June, depending on when you applied. And then you get your results, usually in August, towards the end of July or August, depending on what course you're studying. And then hopefully if you've met all your decisions, you'll be happy with either your first or second choice that you've decided on. So when your offers are made, you have to pick a first choice and a second choice. This will enable you, if you don't meet the grades for your first choice, which could be your conditional choice, which will have conditions attached to it, you may meet the grades for your second choice, which you are happy to go to as well. So that's when results day comes. And if you don't meet, if you don't want to study at either of those, then you can go to something called clearing, and that opens usually in August for you, and then you start university in September. So all of these dates are available on UCAS.
So we are here to help you. There are a lot of resources. If you haven't started your personal statement yet, or you're just kind of figuring out what it is that you want to study, but you want to kind of make some notes, then we've got lots of things that you can do. You can use the QR code that's featured on the screen now to download our interactive personal statement workbook. And basically, we've got lots of tips and tricks. We've separated it out into the thirds. So we've got the non-academic and the academic information. So earlier when Natalie spoke about why you want to study this course, your experiences at school or college, any clubs or societies that you're part of, work experience, whether that be virtual or physical work experience, the booklet separates it out so that you can start writing your sections and bring it all together with a conclusion. I would highly suggest downloading that. We've also got a 5-minute personal statement workshop video that uses this booklet, and you can follow along. I'll play you 2 seconds of it. It is 5 minutes, and we're not going to make you listen to it all, but just so you can see kind of how it works.
Welcome. Hi everyone, welcome to your personal statement workshop. I'm Sophie.
I'm Rosie.
And we work in the Education Liaison and Outreach team at Middlesex University. We'll also be joined by 2 of our wonderful students as they share their top tips.
If you're thinking of applying to uni soon and want to write a winning personal statement, watch this video and complete our step-by-step online workbook.
So make sure you have your workbook up on your computer. If you don't, the link is under this video.
Okay, so that just will talk you through each section of the workbook, and we also hear from 2 of our students as they talk about what they put in their personal statements, which will give you some kind of tips and tricks and some examples really to get you going and started on writing your statement. So that brings us to the end of our presentation. Sorry, I was on mute then. And we'll happily take any questions that you've got now. I can already see there's one coming through in the Q&A. Natalie, I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, I'll read that. There's a question just come in. How can you tell between a good and a bad personal statement? And should I be scared writing a personal statement because I can't really tell if the reader will like it? Well, I would write your personal statement, or even if your first draft is there, think of all what they're think of the things they're looking for in the particular course that it is you're going to apply for. If you're looking to apply for a health course, for instance, then they will be looking for your teamwork, your time management skills, what you've been learning currently, all of those sorts of things. So that's the sort of thing they'll be looking for in your personal statement. Does your personal statement reflect you as an individual, and is it honest? Those are the sorts of things to think about in your personal statement. But if you are at college, I would advise that you meet with your careers advisor, who will give you all the support that you need.
Great. We've got one more. It says, if you're offered an unconditional offer, what do you do?
You have to make that decision. I would tell you to, if you've got 5 applications out for 5 different universities, you have to go with what you are happy to study at for the next 3 years, is what I would say.
So someone just said, should I start my personal statement with a greeting, my achievements? I have no clue how to start it, but
okay. No, you don't need to put your achievements in there. Well, you do if it's not education related, because all your grades with your previous qualification should be listed on your UCAS form. If you, for instance, have won an award for maybe horse riding or something like that, something that's related, that if you're applying for a vet course, for instance, and it's or related to animals, then if you've done something well in horse riding or something else, some other particular area with animals, then put that in there. It's important to do that. And also things to think about is, have you attended any taster days? Have you done any virtual work experience in the areas that you're thinking of applying for, how you're going to use that information.
And I'd also say, if you don't know how to start, then please go onto our website, mdx.ac.uk, and under information for schools and colleges, we've got a range of resources which include that personal statement workbook. You can go onto our YouTube page. So the website's up on the screen at the moment where all of our resources are. You can also go onto our YouTube page where that 5-minute workshop video is, and that will tell you how to start writing your personal statement. We'd suggest splitting it into sections, as that will make it easier for you to start putting together some ideas.
And the question about one particular course, some people want to do a joint honours. For instance, you might want to do English with drama. So that's what my colleague was, Sophie was talking about. She was saying if you need to sort of incorporate both of them within your personal statement as to why you want to study drama, but also why you want to study English with it.
So someone just asked, do our colleges put our predicted grades into our UCAS? Yeah, so when you write your personal statement, you don't need to put anything about your qualifications. Your UCAS application will have that. So there are sections where you need to input the grades that you've already achieved, but your teachers and the subjects you're studying, but your teachers, when they write their references, will input predicted grades in there. So you don't need to put that in there. We'd suggest do not waste space with putting in your qualifications. An admissions officer, tutor, whoever is looking at your personal statement will be able to see that from your application.
Mm-hmm. When will we take about these statements and who will we be talking to? When will we be talking about these statements and who will we be talking to? If you're already in education right now and you're in year 13 or you're a mature learner or year 12, then it'll be your careers advisor at your college or school. Can I apply through UCAS without work experience? Yes, you can apply without work experience, but depending on what type of course you're applying for, some courses, one of the entry criteria is particular work experience. So ensure that you've done your research into make sure the course you're applying for doesn't, if you don't have the relevant work experience, then you need to get some work experience quite quickly. When is the best time to apply for uni? Also, is December late to apply? No, December's not too late to apply, but as I say, if you want to be classed as an early, you have to apply before the 15th of January. If you're attached to a school, make sure you're meeting their deadlines, because they will be writing your reference. Once you submit your application, if you're applying with your school or college, they will be checking all the information on there and supplying your reference.
So someone said, can you start with a question? Do you need to add interests and hobbies? To the latter, yes, it's important that you showcase you. So they want to know that you are a real person. And part of that is talking about your interests and hobbies. Can you start with a question? It would depend on what that question is. I think you've really got to think carefully about using quotes and rhetorical questions, things like that. It's important that you firstly talk about why you want to study that particular course, and you need to check whether your starting sentence is really relevant to the whole personal statement, really.
How much evidence should we include to back up our points? Well, you only have what is it? How many words is it, Soph? It's 4,000 characters.
4,000 characters.
So it's important that you include all of the points that you feel that are relevant and that the admissions tutor or academic is happy with in the personal statement.
Yeah. So if you were, for instance, to say that you, I don't know, say you were applying for a health course or something where you needed to showcase a skill that was important, then yes, you need to talk about it and back it up with a point of evidence. It's just no good to say I'm good at this, but then not say why. So you're not going to sound as if you're bragging. It's important that you can showcase that what you're talking about is actually what you can do.
So it's about giving just examples, really. How How would you successfully include both degrees if doing a joint degree? Well, as we said, if you're interested in English and you're interested in drama, if that's the type of course that you're a joint honours programme that you're applying for, then you need to think about how you can incorporate them together, English and drama together, and why you want to do that degree. It might be that you're interested in drama and in acting and all those sorts of things, but you're also interested in script writing, which is where English comes from.
So someone said, does submitting the UCAS application early strengthen my chances of getting an offer? Should I take my time?
If it is for a nursing, well, you know, the UCAS deadline is the 15th of January as an early application. The earlier you apply, the better. But most universities don't interview for the nursing courses. They start late in December, early January.
The thing with applying early and applying by the January 15th deadline is that, yes, you can still submit your application after that point, but if that course does become full, then you won't be able to get a space on that on that particular course. So you need to really check whether it's a course that does get subscribed quite early or quite popular. And you can, if you want to, talk to admissions officers. Most places will have a chat function. We do at MDX, and there is ways that you can ask them questions if you are concerned that you might not meet that deadline. But if you are working with or part of a school or college, they will also have their own deadlines that you'll need to meet. So if you're with a school or college and they want you to meet the January 15th deadline, it's likely that you'll need to submit everything to your tutor or careers advisor by December so that they can write your references and submit in time. So that's also something that you need to be aware of.
Things to think about if you're waiting to the 15th of January deadline. There will be an awful lot of people that do that. So so universities will receive a lot of applications on the 15th of January or just after the deadline once they've been through the UCAS system. So then your application could take longer to be worked on. Could is what I say. But so the earlier you apply, the better, really, because that means that you are in front of some of those people that are applying on the 15th of January in terms of when your application is going to be looked at.
I can see that we've got quite a few questions around like joint honours. So some that are questions around if the courses are similar, but some are around if the courses are kind of drastically different. Writing one personal statement for courses that are drastically different works if you are applying, say, for medicine or a course where you can only have 4 choices and then you need to make up your 5th choice and the course might be different. Some universities will understand that and see that, but if you are applying for, I don't know, a dance course and then a health related course, you aren't going to be able to really showcase both subjects equally.
But they're not usually a joint honours degree.
No, this was, so someone's also asked if they're doing two completely separate courses, how can they write one personal statement if they're interested in 2 different fields? For medicine and areas like that where you can only have 4 choices, then you can obviously apply for another health related course, or like BSc biomedical or biological sciences or something like that as your 5th choice. Universities understand that because they know the process, that you can only apply for 4 areas and then your 5th choice will be taken up with a course that is a science. But if they are really, really drastic fields, it's probably not going to work for you. If they are closely related, so as we said before, English and creative writing, those are kind of common courses that are joint areas. What we'd suggest is that you make a list of the 2 courses and then be able or try to combine the different elements from both courses together. There are people saying that they have no clue where to start, or they haven't had much work experience. Definitely try to start off with the structure that we've suggested in the personal statement booklet. That will really, really help you. And if you go over to Unibuddy, then our colleagues will be able to send you over the link. And I'm a bit conscious of time that we probably won't get through to everyone's questions. So our colleagues are on Unibuddy.
I can just answer this question now. So sorry. Yeah. How can we apply when we, if we apply for September? If you're wanting to apply for a course in September, UCAS is open now, so you can apply through UCAS now for a 3-year program. If you're an international student, then you need to go over to Unibody and speak to our international team who will help you with that. Are there different expectations for a personal statement for someone applying for a PG dip in mental health nursing? No, they won't know if you're an individual or applying as a through your college. What they will know is who's writing your personal your reference for you. So it's important that you get an academic reference, really, or your current employer reference if you're applying for a PG dip in something like mental health nursing.
Someone's just said something about nursing if they're not quite sure whether they want to do child or adult.
I would ensure that you know what the difference is between each course, because they are very different. One looks after adults and one looks after sick children. And if you're looking after a sick child, usually you would be looking after their parents as well. So those are the sorts of things you need to think about when you're looking at both adult and children's nursing. If you've got any experience maybe with working in the adult field, in the care field, or children's, or if you worked in a shoe shop maybe working with children, think about what the differences between children and adults and how you should, and that will give you the answer as to where you want to apply to and what you want to apply to.
Yeah, there's some other people asking about not quite sure when auditions or like portfolios need to be given in by, so when should they send their UCAS application? I would still suggest that you need to get in before the January 15th deadline. That gives you enough time to get your offers back with the audition dates or days that you need to submit your portfolios or have an interview, because they can take quite a while to arrange. So it's imperative that you do submit your application on the early deadline.
Yeah. If you're applying as a mature learner without much experience, I suspect you have got lots of experience, because if you've got other commitments, you may have studied if you're currently at college right now doing your level 3, or when you did your level 3, think about all of the things that you did while you've done that. Even if you've done unpaid work experience or maybe be a carer, just think about all of the things that you've done as a mature student.